What's up, y'all? What's up? Welcome to the Pugilistic Linguistics Show. I am your host, Michael Foster, the voice of reason in an increasingly unreasonable world, and I am back. Before I get started, like I say every week, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified when new episodes get dropped. Share this with your people. Get this out to the masses. I know you got people who would enjoy what I have to say, same way you do. Or I know you have some people that would hate what I say, the same way you do. Either way it goes, get this out to the people. Want to blow this up in 2026. This week's episode. Well, let me clue you into something real quick. I don't go into an episode with a title. I have a topic in mind when I start. The title is usually the last thing that comes up. So I was going to come up with this snazzy title off the top of my head, and I can't come up with one, but I'm sure I'll have one before I post this. But let me say a few things. I know that a lot of times I come across as a real curmudgeon, as a real grumpy old man that has nothing nice to say about this current generation, and always got something to say mean about them or negative about them or whatever. And I'll agree. I do. Because these folk do shit I just can't understand. I don't get it. For a generation that is so tolerant, so-called tolerant, they're quick to throw a label at you. Call you phobic or this or that or whatever. For a generation who loves to see themselves in lights, who loves to record everything, every aspect of their lives, and put it online for the world to see, they get mad when their privacy is violated. Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't live online, then complain when somebody violates your privacy. If you really wanted privacy, keep your ass offline. But more than that, what I want to talk about today is for a generation who loves to dish it, they can't take it. And that is so amusing to me. For a generation that loves to dish it, they can't take it. They're snowflakes. They're fragile. They're so tender because they can't take it. So, what do I mean? Well, here's what I mean. So, this past week, no, maybe last week, first, second week in March, there's this basketball player who plays for the Miami Heat. His name is Bam Adebayo. Now, Bam Adebayo is, I would guess he is the quote-unquote star of the Heat these days. I think he's get paid the most on the team, and he's the focus of their offense or whatever. Averages about 16 points for his career, roughly around 19, 20 points a game this year. On last week, previous Friday, he explodes for 83 points. The second most single game scoring explosion in NBA history, behind Wilt Chamberlain's 100 ahead of Kobe Bryant's 81. 83 points. Goes 20 for 43 from the field, 7 for 22 from three-point line, and 36 of 43 from the free throw line. Now, in a vacuum, that's impressive. 83 points in a professional game, that's impressive. But then you watch the game, and it starts to become apparent how truly fraudulent that so-called accomplishment was. Now, I'm going to, first quarter, he comes out the gate with 31. Second quarter, he puts up another 12, so 43 at half. Okay, I think at that point, it was still, even though it was disproportionate, it was still within the flow of the game. But then as third and fourth quarter come around, you can see how the Heat were trying to feed him to get as many points as he could, regardless of the flow of the game. And Bam took advantage. He's shooting threes over triple teams and doing all kinds of crazies. They're fouling the Wizards so they can get more possessions, and the Heat players are deliberately missing free throws. I mean, it turns into a clown show after a while. And he ends up with 83 points. And then it's a celebratory moment. Everybody's on that man's jock because he's ahead of Kobe. Now, I'm not going to speak to Kobe's 81. I'm not going to speak to Wilt's 100 because, of course, I wasn't there. But this is, so when you're celebrating this cat, everything is good. When you're celebrating him for his accomplishment, everything is good. But then some sports media folk came out and started to question the legitimacy of the accomplishment, given the same parameters that I just gave you. It was a clown show after a while. And now that you have the nerve to question anybody, now you starting to be labeled, you're a hater, you're an old man, you don't understand, as if we just popped out the womb and we ain't lived the same shit y'all living through. Like we don't have the right to speak on what we see. We're like we're supposed to love everything y'all do, and everybody's above reproach. Everybody's above criticism. Everybody's above being pointed out that this ain't really legitimate, y'all. And that's a conundrum about this generation. When you love them, they'll soak up all the accolades. But how dare you criticize? How dare you? You just old. You don't get it. You act like I'm brand new at this. You brand new at this. What are you talking about? Dwayne Wade, who is arguably the Heat's greatest player ever. 3 championships, scoring titles, I believe scoring titles, but if not, he's 25, 26 points a game. He's Dwayne Wade. Regardless of the questionable things that he's done personally since retirement, his accolades are undeniable. He was on a podcast, I believe it was with Shaq, now I think about it, but he was on a podcast recently, and this was right before Bam's 83. And he basically said, I get to Miami, there's no buzz about this team like when I was playing. He said, when I was playing, there was a buzz around the Heat. You felt it in the city. Now, he has every right to say that. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant. He has every right to say that. That is his impression of what he sees. Then the next night or the night after next, Bam goes over 83. And then Bam takes the time after his accomplishment in his post-game press conference to throw shade at Dwayne Wade, talking about how he's old and he's 45. He's old. He needs to go home somewhere. He doesn't have the right to say that y'all dull, that y'all are boring. 83 points notwithstanding, that game was even boring, to be real with you. But Dwayne Wade doesn't have the right to say. Dwayne Wade has reached a level of achievement, Bam, that you will never reach. Given your current career trajectory, you ain't going to win 3 titles. Given your current career trajectory, you're not going to average 25, 26 points a game for your career. You just ain't. They may make more money because they throw more money around nowadays, but that ain't the measure of how good of a player you are. That's a measure of how lucky you are to play in today's environment, where there's a whole bunch of mediocre players and you got to pay somebody. You can dish it, but you can't take it. How dare you say something bad about me and my generation? We are the greatest ever. Don't you know that? Michael Jordan wasn't good. I saw a TikTok of some knucklehead, nappyhead ass generation millennial, whatever the hell they're called, who had the nerve to say this: I don't think Prince was that good in the 80s. I just think everybody was on drugs back then, so it made them sound good. Now, I personally think she was just doing that for clicks. Some hot take that is going to rile up the masses and get a bunch of engagement. But let's take what she says at face value. Let's take what she says as if she meant it. You've got to be the dumbest ass in captivity to say something like that. I don't think Prince was really that good. Prince, the guy who played 21 instruments, I don't think he was that good. Everybody was on drugs in the 80s, so they just thought it sounded good. You stupid. There comes a time where you just stop legitimizing shit. You just look at somebody and say, "You stupid." There's no way around. You're just a dumbass. But that's what this generation is filled with. People who just say shit and then get mad when you check them on it. Well, it's my opinion. Well, your opinion is stupid. Just because everybody has a right to their opinion does not mean that I forfeit my right to say that's fucking dumb. Just because you say the world is flat and you believe it wholeheartedly does not make it correct. And they've gone unchecked for so long that they're accustomed to everyone kissing their asses. Well, you don't want to upset them. I don't give a fuck about upsetting somebody. You're wrong. And we need to get back to that. You're wrong. Nobody in this generation can be wrong, yet they want to tell everybody else how wrong they are. Look, LeBron James ain't the greatest player ever. Period. Perfect example. If you had one player to take one shot to win a championship, who would that player be? I can think of 2 or 3 before I even get to LeBron James. Who it is, who I would pick is irrelevant. What I'm saying is there are 2 or 3 people I would pick before I would pick LeBron James. If I can't trust him to make a shot to win a championship, how the hell is he the greatest ever? Well, he's got more points than everybody. Well, he's also been playing more than half his life in the NBA. You play for 23 years, you're supposed to outscore everybody. He's got the most field goals. Yep, he's been playing for 23 years. High usage for 23 years. You're supposed to outscore everybody. You're supposed to hit more free throws or more field goals than everybody. You're supposed to. I'll tell you how he knows he ain't the greatest. Whose number is he wearing? That's the argument right there. If he's the greatest, why he got to wear somebody else's number? Why can't he blaze his own trail with his own number? He was number 6 for a while. He ain't number 6 no more. What numbers he wear? Don't worry, I'll wait. But if you have the nerve to criticize their king, then they want to shit on everybody that came before. Like the NBA first started in 2003 when he showed up. That's the thing about these folk I can't stand. Nothing happened until they arrived. Nothing existed before they showed up. Nothing was great before they came on the scene. But you can't criticize them. Because then you're being something. Like, there's this set of unwritten rules in baseball. Don't get me wrong. Those unwritten rules have been there forever. So this is not indicative of just this generation. But I think this generation has really taken it to an extreme. There's a set of unwritten rules in baseball where you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's the dumbest shit in the world. Because you don't want to, quote, show up your opponent, unquote. Bullshit. They're my opponent. Damn right I want to show them up. I want to beat them into the ground and make them not want to play ball ever again. I want to snatch their souls and make them go home crying to their mamas. Their opponents. You're supposed to want to beat them. Not join them. LeBron, Chris Bosh. You're supposed, Kevin Durant. You're supposed to want to beat these folk. You don't want to join them. So there's this big thing, big to do nowadays. There was this one game I was watching, of the very few baseball games I watch these days, where guy hits a homer. Took the time to admire the homer. Took his time walking around the bases. And everybody on the defensive side was barking at him. Now, if I'm that dude, I'm like, man, piss on y'all. I won. I'm going to do what I do. In a game where failure is 70% of the game, when I actually do something successful, let me celebrate it. The same way you celebrate, pitcher, when you strike somebody out, you pumping your fists and shit like that and yelling and all that stuff. If you can do that, why can't I pimp a homer? So they get around and he gets to the home plate. Now everybody want to fight. Man, if you don't get the fuck out of my face. Hey, pitcher, guess what? I got a perfect solution for him not pimping the homer. Don't give it up. You do understand if you don't give up the homer, he can't trot around the bases the way he wants. If you get him out, he walks back to the dugout. You see how that works? As opposed to getting mad at your failure, or better yet, as opposed to get mad at his success, get mad at your failure. Take some accountability for some shit. That's the thing about nobody takes accountability. Accountability is in short supply. Take some accountability. Now, should he have done it? Maybe not. But he actually has earned that right. He won. Deal with it. Then you want to throw at him next time and throw behind his head and all this old crazy shit. Grow up. Deal with it. If you don't want him to do it, get him out. It's the same with a lot of the sports stuff, and it's indicative, it's an analogous to society as a whole. You want to get mad at my success, but you don't take accountability for your own failures. Ohio State, Michigan, a couple years ago. Ohio State was top 1, 2, 3, something like that. Michigan was kind of down, maybe top 25. I'm not sure. But Michigan beats Ohio State in Columbus. And then they want to go plant their flag at 50-yard line. Now, would I have done it? No. I think that's asking for trouble because you're dealing with a bunch of... But Ohio State now want to fight. How dare you plant your flag on my field? It happened to Florida State a few years ago. It happened a few times. Just underdog beats favorite, underdog celebrates, favorite mad, favorite want to fight. Well, if you fought like that during the game, favorite, you wouldn't have lost it. Take accountability for your failures. Don't get mad at my success. Get mad at your failure. Take accountability for the shitty ways you played. So, Ohio State want to fight now. You know, it's a surefire way to not have them plant their flag on your field. Beat them. I bet you good green money if Ohio State had beat Michigan that day, Michigan would not be trying to plant flags at the 50-yard line. I bet you good green money. You don't like it? Beat them. Take some accountability. Like I said, it's analogous to society at large. There's no accountability. There was this one woman. All right, so man is in his house. Man is minding his business in his house. Man has weapons in his house. He's licensed to have them. It's legal. 3 teenagers who are armed breaks into man's house trying to rob man. Man opens fire on teenagers and kills 2 of them. Okay? Now, man was in his house minding his business, doing his thing. 3 armed teens break up into his house. He kills 2 of them. Mother of one of the dead teens gets mad at man and says, he was only trying to rob you. You killed him. Wait, what? You know, mama, I got a surefire way that teen wouldn't have been killed on that day on that man's porch. You know how? Keep his ass out that man's house. Take some accountability for your murderous, robbing ass son. He got what he deserved. And I normally am not one of the people, I'm not advocating murder or whatever, but in certain cases, you get what you deserve. You get what you pay for. He paid for bullets in his ass. Because that's what he asked for. Leave people alone, but beyond that, take some accountability for that dude's action. The reason why he's probably a murderous teen is because you covered his ass all his life. He never learned accountability as your son. And this is the ultimate result. Yeah, I understand he's your son and you're upset that he's gone, but you have to look at the circumstances surrounding his death. Accountability. And yeah, I know I've been all over the place, sports and life and all that stuff, but it all boils down to one thing: accountability. Bam. Take accountability for that fraudulent ass game. Yeah, is he going to come out and say it? No, of course not. Nor do I expect him to. But when somebody else calls it out, you got to sit there and take that. Can we take your 83 away? No, we can't take it away. But we can speak on it. Don't get mad at my success. Get mad at your failure. The pictures and the pimping of the homers and the planting of the flags, even down to the mother who acknowledged her son's criminality, but is mad that that criminality led to his death. Well, if he wasn't a criminal, and this generation is just the masters at evading accountability. But that should not preclude us from holding their feet to the fire. That should not preclude us from telling them how they are. And it also can't preclude us from receiving that kind of feedback also. I think I talked about that last week. Take some accountability. Yeah, I did it. I messed up. And the kicker is, you do understand if you just say, you know what, yeah, I messed up. At that moment, I got to leave you alone. You acknowledged it. You said you made your mistake. You apologized. We got to move on now. Because anybody that continues to beat on them, that's a flaw in them. That's a character flaw for them. Once you acknowledge it, once you admit it, once you take accountability, I got to leave you alone now. But the longer you evade and dodge and duck, it keeps it live. It keeps it hot. Just take accountability for your actions. Now, there's a such thing as saying, you know what, I don't agree. Different conversation. But when you know you wrong, you know you foul, you know what you did was stupid, take accountability. You know you played like shit today. Don't get mad at them for rubbing your nose in it. Is that the most sportsmanlike thing to do? No. Is that the most neighborly thing to do? No. But again, I'm here to beat you. I don't give a damn how you feel about it. That whole joining up with my friends to make a super team. That is so this generation. We friends. Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley were friends after the season. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were friends after the season. But while we playing against each other, I'm trying to beat your head in. Me on a personal level, I got real good friends. Like I'm a bowler. Well, I'm a semi-bowler. But when I was good, I was a bowler. And I had some real good bowling friends, and we would go at each other. Them my dudes, them my whatevers. I would do anything for them after I beat your head in. And when you get your head beat in, you say, nice game, and we go get a drink. After I get my head beat in, I'm going to say, I'm going to get your ass next time, and we go get a drink. But while we're in competition, I'm trying to make you feel so bad about yourself and your life decisions that you ain't never want to go do this again. And I'm going to talk shit while I'm doing it. And then when I'm done, I'm done. That's how this is supposed to work. We can't be friends while we're competing. But again, that's just so this generation. Everybody want to be friends. Nobody wants to, hold people's feet to the fire. Everybody want to be friends. I'll piss on that, man. Anyway. So, that noise you're hearing in the background is me putting my soapbox away again. I got this one spot in the closet that I keep. And I got this Velcro, like this velvet cover over it to keep it nice and fresh from week to week. So I put my soapbox away, and I'll say goodbye for this week. I think I ranted enough. But in the meantime, in between time, like I say all the time, until next time we meet, take care of each other, take care of yourself, especially in these days and times, because we are all we got. All right? Peace.